sorry for, well, not really, well, sorry for some late uploads and the same formula. Hopefully, and of course, hopefully I could try some new things. But for the Halloween season, here is my review on the NECA Halloween Kills Ultimate Michael Myers. So, here he is right now. Now let's move on to the box. Here is the figures box with the poster of Halloween Kills Ultimate Michael Myers, with a basic product shot of what it is, or basic product shot, well, not a basic product shot, but a movie poster of the box, on the box, and, oh, never mind. The side says Halloween Kills, that's it, NECA, real toys, same with the other side. Top, Halloween Kills, at the bottom, there's a barcode right there. And on the back, it just has everything, every single product shot of the figure, what the figure comes with, and the basis of the movie. Pause to read right here. Okay. And then moving to the inside, here is the inside flap of the box, which is basically the hospital and the standard product shot that NECA is noted for with their opening window boxes. So, here is the Ultimate Michael Myers figure. Now, let's move on to some things and let's get this over with already. Because, man, I didn't plan this through. But, start off with the paint and the sculpt on this figure. I think, for me, the paint and the sculpt on this figure is one of its biggest strengths out of the figure itself. So let's start off with the head. Now this isn't really the head it comes with. This is a second head. But they're both relatively the same head, just bigger, depending, and more damage as well. Now, depending on if the light can show it, as you see right there, that's what the figure looks like. Now, the head is drastically different from the 2018 figure. As you see, it's much larger. Now, this is a repaint, obviously, but it's much larger. The hair is much more slicked back. There's the obvious scars and burn marks into it. And there's the shotgun blast to the head, to the cheek. Overall, it's nicely well sculpted and detailed to look like a different version of the Halloween 2018 mask, just burned. There's, of course, the yellow detail, which is known for in the movie. You also could see no eyes, but if you have this mask, this head on, you could clearly see some of the eye detailing there, and I'll admit it looks pretty nice, but of course I'm just gonna stick with the no-eyed look. Overall, the head sculpt, really nice, even though it is really huge, but not really a big deal. Moving on to the body, it's exactly the same as the Halloween 2018 figure, so let's just get that figure real quick. Again, same figure, roughly, maybe some different wrinkles, less wrinkling on this side than anything. The pockets are the same, but there's obvious new details. For example, the skin color on these figures are different. One is like this, it's a little bit more human-like, while this one looks like it's dried out, but a little bit more realistic, especially on the fact that this figure just has a bunch of blood on his hands. Now, of course, there's other differences. The forearms look to be similar, especially this one. However, the right forearm is lacking some big, hefty bulk into it compared to 2018. There's the obvious side. Of course, this side is obviously just full of burns and melted fabric, but it still looks nice enough to be its own figure. I also think the shoes are different. Although, let me check real quick. No, they are not. They are actually the same thing. It's just, again, I custom painted the shoes because they were just too dirty. I thought they were chipped. So I had to make new shoes. Repaint new shoes for him. of course, same new figure, looks really nice. But again, of course, as someone who really loves this figure since 2 years ago, I think this is one of the best figures of the year so far. Now, of course, some new parts, besides just the new paint and the newly sculpted damage, there's obviously some gunshots on his bat on the front. Not so much at the back as, like, the 2018 figure, I think. But enough to make it good and different at the same time. He also, of course, has the three-fingered look, which also has some battle damage and is also made to be pretty much wrapped in bandages. Pretty nice, to say the least. But overall, detail, it's pretty good for a Myers figure and pretty good for a NECA figure. While yes, it is the same figure as the previous 2018 figure, it feels like an improvement more than anything else. For example, like bulking up the head and much more. Bulking up the head, adding some damage, maybe even slimming down the arms compared to, even though they both look like they have the same arms. Less wrinkling on the jumpsuit, maybe some different shoes. It looks good though. Still nicely done and still nicely detailed. To the accessories we go. Of course, he comes with that alternate head, as I said before. Maybe, of course, I think also there's a little bit more less blood on here, but there's some new hands. For example, he has, besides this hand he comes with, the open three-fingered hand, he also has one gripping three-fingered hand and one gripping and one sort of holding hand to hold the special included Silver Shamrock mask, which I'll admit is bloody and brutal as hell, and I honestly really like this accessory. I think this works really well. Although it has some trouble to fit on Michael's hand. A little bit, some trouble, because it won't be as accurate as people may say it looks, but angle it down in a certain way, and then boom, you got Michael looking threatening as all hell. Some new accessories he comes with, besides just, knives. Well, let's talk about the knives real quick. He has two new knives. A regular, not the one where he kills Sandra and Phil, where you just put it in, and of course, it's the same thing. Oh my days. Yes, this hand, unfortunately, on my copy, kind of just pops off really easily. And overall, it just looks really nice. Now, of course, he comes with this standard brown knife with much more blood onto it. But I don't really display it like this because it looks a little strange. As a matter of fact, I display him with the main accessory, the Halligan bar. Not this thing. Yes, the Halligan bar. Arguably one of the best accessories of the figure, except I feel like it should be bigger. I don't think it should be this small. Like, I know there was a shot where Michael was just like, I know there was a shot where Michael was holding it like this, but I feel like it should be bigger, not really small. And of course, he comes with another cool accessory used in the film, a light bulb or fluorescent light to do that one gnarly neck kill in the movie. And it looks nice. It's nicely detailed. And if you want to pose it like this with one of your figures, it'll look really nice. And of course, gnarly like in the movie should. Like the movie is. And of course, there's the baseball bat, which basically this is the Chucky bat, but just longer and much more detailed. Here, I'll show you right now. They're roughly the same thing. Just one has more detail, and one is just looking like a plastic bat, and also one is just much smaller than the other. Another thing too is I wish he had the old huckleberry on the handle of the baseball bat, because it literally looks like a plain old bat. Nicely detailed though. Now let's move on to this figure's articulation. Exactly the same figure as the Halloween 2018 figure, just with some, I guess, new alterations. For starters, this show that's the same thing. Head is on a new ball joint. You can look up that far and look down that far, and of course that iconic head tilt that actually looks awesome. Tilt side to side, but of course that's how we do it. Arms can go 360. However, on the downside with this is that they feel really unexpectedly tight. You can only go far by this much, compared to this figure where it can go far by this. Here, it's like this. Hey, look, T-posing Myers. T-posing Myers isn't scary for you? I don't know what is. Also, for some reason, it feels like this elbow should go down all the way, but I don't want to force it, so it could only go up by this. Meanwhile, as in the Halloween 2018 figure, it could go up by this. Feels like it's the same amount, but it feels like it's just a new part. While the other arm can go much higher. Hand can only go up and down, only do this. There is a joint in the original 2018 figure that makes you can tilt down and up and down, but I don't know if my figure has it. No waist swivel, I'm not even gonna force it. He also can kick up that far, and again, forgot to mention, new joints. Instead of these solid joints that Michael has in the 2018 figure and the Halloween 2 figure, he has ball joints, which, oh boy, are sounding so unpleasant. You can kick up this far, back this far, split by this much, thigh swivel that feels also unexpectedly tight, a single jointed knee, and feet that also feel like kind of hinder his standing, because it feels like he's moving back like this, even though he should be going like this. And of course, swivel at the feet and pivot at the ankle. Posability is really nice, even if there are some of the usual NECA qualities that could be here. Maybe with some of the fragile joints or joint problems that could happen with your figure, and also just the tightness is so unexpectedly with this figure, especially with the legs. But overall, it's still a fun figure, and overall is nicely articulated, surprisingly, for your collection. Now to the size comparison. Michael stands roughly at a solid almost 8 inches. He's almost 7.5, almost 8 inches. Now, as I've compared this figure to the 2018 figure, because they're roughly the same mold, here they are. Same mold, just a new head, new details, new accessories, much slimmer. And yes, you can interchange these hands. I just don't want to do it right now because I feel like this figure's about to break. I don't know, but I don't want to try it. I may try it in the photo gallery though. But let's leave them on the set real quick. Let's also grab another Michael Myers figure I reviewed last year. The NECA Halloween 2 Michael Myers, the original Ultimate figure. This is basically the same figure, just with a slightly alterated, with a new jumpsuit that's newly modeled and sculpted, new boots, and basically a new head and some new accessories, but has the same hands and whatnot. Same articulation too. These are practically the same figure. Now I could get Roy out here, but that's too much, and this is only for Michael, not for Jason. But for a Jason comparison, now since he's the only one I have here for the next review, here is the NECA Part 7 Jason compared to Michael. Now, I think for me, I think something is off here. I think it's just how Jason's standing. But it looks like Michael's kind of taller, but I don't really think so. Jason should be taller. Obviously, comparing to the Freddy versus Jason, that will be in the size comparison. That will be like the biggest Jason. That's like the biggest Jason that could pretty much dwarf him. Besides the other Jason figures. And for a final comparison, here he is with Laurie Strode, and the most overprotective character in the most overreactive character in the whole Halloween trilogy until, like, Halloween ends. She scales really well with Michael. Pretty well, indeed. So, there we go. Alright, now let's move on to the final thoughts. So, overall, is this figure worth the Is this figure worth it? Is this figure worth tracking over the aftermarket? And is this figure pretty much the best Myers ever? Well, to answer some of the questions, yes, I do think this is probably a bit, in my opinion, a huge improvement over the Halloween 2018 figure. I don't say so much about the movie, though, but besides that, I think it's a big improvement over the Halloween 2018 figure. Just wish he maybe came with more hands for his other hand, and maybe some more quality control, because, like, he's also gonna have the same issues with NECA where it could break at any moment. It's pretty fragile, and of course tight joints, and this figure has those, but it's not terrible, I would say. Just hair dry or put hot water on the figure, and then the figure's gonna be fine. Now, is this figure worth tracking on the aftermarket? Absolutely not. I remember this figure was on eBay for, like, I don't know, $70 most. I remember even seeing this figure for like $60, which was a whole, like, gutload of a price for a NECA figure. That's why I waited until, like, next year, until this figure actually properly distributed in Canada. Now, of course, this figure costs maybe like $50 in Toys R Us, which I don't know if that's even worth that price, but if you could afford them for a good amount of money, I definitely recommend you get them. If this is your first ever Myers figure, I also definitely recommend you get them, although Halloween 2018 and 2 are also good options too. But man, oh man, for what this figure is, it's really nice. Now, I know I'm going to go off topic here, but are they going to make a NECA Halloween... But is NECA going to make a Halloween Ends figure? I think so, but I don't know how is that going to work, especially for what the movie is, and this may contain, and I forgot to mention, this video may contain some slight spoil, I don't know why I did this, but some slight spoilers for Halloween Ends, so... And as of now, Halloween Ends is currently streaming on Peacock, and you could also watch it in the movie theaters, but that's besides the point. This is Halloween Kills, not Ends. So, overall, as I said before, worth every penny. I think this is probably one of my favorite figures of the year so far, and it deserves a solid 8.5 out of 10. Maybe, who knows? I know I gave the Halloween 2018 figure a 9, but I think it also deserves an 8.5, because this figure is straight up 8.5. So, I'll see you guys next time on the next review, which you already saw. What could it be? So, I'll see you guys next time on, again, that next review. And hopefully I can upload this unlike the rest of my other uploads. So then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Enjoy the photo gallery.